I continue to believe that North Carolina needs front court depth for the upcoming season, but it's becoming increasingly more difficult to find depth who wants to be depth. But I think I might have just the guy for the Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, it's Friday, June 9th, 2023. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen or watch every single day. Coming up on the show today, super fun interview with Bryce Baker, who is a quarterback in the class of 2025, has just transferred to East Forsyth High School, shooting up the recruiting ranks, and was gracious enough to join me for a conversation about the recruiting process, his game, and who he is as a person. Super fun conversation, and can't wait for you to hear it. But before we get there, I've got an idea for the Tar Heels. On yesterday's show, hopefully you tuned into that, Coach Pat Kilby and I discussed if Carolina would use or should use any or all of the three remaining scholarships the Tar Heels have now that Simeon Wilcher has opted out. If you listen to that, you know that we collectively landed on the idea that Carolina should utilize one of their final three scholarships and hold on to the other two, probably give them to a couple walk-ons. And we both believe that that one scholarship should go to a front court or wing player. So regardless of the answer that you believe to the question of what Carolina should do with these three remaining scholarships, whether something or nothing, I believe it's a healthy exercise for us to continue to process what it looks like, because it helps give us an idea of what to look for the Tar Heels if and when they do go and utilize these scholarships or don't. What does the roster look like? How does it come together? So I believe, as I've just said, that more front court depth and someone who legitimately wants to be front court depth is what Carolina needs. The Tar Heels currently have, let me lay it out for you in terms of front court personnel: Armando Bacot, the Jalens, Washington, and Withers, Zayden High, and then with Harrison Ingram, who's really more of a wing, a small forward, but will likely play a good bit of small ball four, considering what we believe that Carolina will do, having a three-guard lineup a lot of the season. Now, before you go screaming at your computer or phone or whatever you're listening to or watching this on, yes, I believe that Jalen Washington will be Armando Bacot's main backup at the center position, at the 5. But what I want to propose is someone that can be a more big body, bulky, move you around kind of center, similar to Armando. That's not really Jalen or his game. That's just not his body type and his build. North Carolina, I believe, needs another person of Armando Bacot's girth who can be somebody to bang in the paint with other guys, particularly in ACC play. So this is somebody, let's say Armando is on the bench getting a breather, or is hurt, God forbid, or in foul trouble. There are going to be times when I think it's a great asset to bring in Jalen Washington, who has a different skill set than Armando, to give the defense or the other team a completely different look. But there are times when you need somebody that is big and bulky like that and can move people around. Think about, as an example, NC State. You remember last year, they've got this big dude, DJ Burns, just a force in the paint. He's going to be back for the Pack next season. My man DJ Burns is 6'9", 275, at least per last year's roster. By comparison, Armando is 6'11", 235. So he gives up about 40 pounds there, but has the type of body that's able to stick with Burns and do what he needs to do. By comparison, Jalen Washington is 6'10", 225. Now, technically, that's only 10 pounds lighter than Armando is, but it just to look at them and what they can bring physically with bulk, it looks like they're worlds apart. Jalen is a full 50 pounds shy of DJ Burns. If you remember watching those front court battles last year when Bacot was not on the court, Burns just had his way. Really, the only other guy Carolina had on their roster last year of similar size and girth was Will Shaver, who's not there either. There is no one else on the roster right now like Armando Bacot. So who do you get? That's the question to help fill that role. Let's turn to Jonathan Adams for the answer. Jonathan sent in a suggestion via Twitter. He is at JKAdams17. So Jonathan, thank you so much for this idea. You, my friend, and I are on the same track. Jonathan says this: what about Mac Etienne as a backup center? Jonathan, I could not agree more with you. Let's suggest UCLA transfer Mac Etienne or someone very similar to him to be this person who comes and fills this role. Etienne, 6'10", 235, coming out of UCLA, basically the same frame and body as Armando Bacot. Also, my man has awesome hair. Go look at him if you haven't seen a picture. Etienne was in the class of 2021, was ranked as high as 31 at 247 Sports. He was their number 5 center. Now, so we talked about Will Shaver. Etienne did something kind of similar, enrolled before the spring semester to spend that first year there. So he did that ahead at winter break of the 2020-21 academic season, played 13 games that spring, even started one, but was able to get a red shirt. And so that's awesome. Then in 21-22, the year that Carolina went to the national championship game, Etienne unfortunately tore his ACL just prior to the season in October, so missed that whole year. But then this year, 2022-23, he averaged 1.3 points a game, 1.9 rebounds per game in 6.8 minutes per game. So kind of like the same as Armando Bacot, not a deep threat. Literally has never attempted a three at UCLA. Quite frankly, he's a terrible free throw shooter, 35.7%, although he's had a very small sample size, just 28 attempts. I think something that's more instructive and helpful for us to look at in terms of what Etienne could be is to look at his 40-minute numbers, those projections. That's a helpful representation for me. 8.1 points per game, 10.9 rebounds, 1.9 blocks, 1.1 steals, and 1.1 assists, and 0.9 steals. Like that projects to be somebody who, like, as he's working back from ACL injury, could do some really good things, assuming full health, which it seems like he was from last year. I think he would be a great addition because he's still got 3 years of eligibility left per releases from UCLA. Keep in mind, there is a struggle in this day and age of college athletics to get someone to come be on your roster who is all right with a developmental role, all right not getting to be the starter. To me, Etienne or someone like him fits the bill for that role in a big way. Now, to be fair, I have not seen any connection between North Carolina and Etienne. Like, I've not seen Etienne tied to the Tar Heels or anything like that. I'm just putting him up as a prototype of somebody that I think would be the right type of person to get. It makes a ton of sense to me. He would provide more rebounding. He would provide rim protection. Not necessarily a ton of offense. I think he would get some putbacks and other kind of things. But still, he would add some nice spot minutes. And he would have 5 fouls a game that he could give. And again, this current roster doesn't have a Will Shaver type. So who's Armando going to go up against in practice? Jalen? Washington? Like, he's going to bowl him over. He needs somebody to be able to push back and give him some heft. Also, Etienne, who's been playing on the West Coast, is from the Northeast. And so I would imagine would be pretty happy to get back to an East Coast school. Now, this is somebody I'm looking at, somebody I'm projecting. I would love to know your thoughts. Would Etienne be the type of player or role that you're looking for Carolina to fill out? Let me know in the comments or find me on Twitter or whatever it is. Anyway, thanks again to Jonathan Adams for his great thoughts. And man, I think you're processing this really well. Well, coming up, we shift attention from basketball to football. As I said earlier, Bryce Baker joins me in just a minute for an interview. A class of 2025 quarterback in state at East Forsyth opens up the door, lets us behind the scenes of the recruiting process to let us know the ups and downs and what he would change. Really excited for you to hear this interview. We'll have it in just a second, but first, before we get there, I need to tell you that this episode of Locked on Tar Heels is brought to you by Bird Dogs. I don't really know how else to say it, so I'm just going to keep it simple for you. Bird Dog shorts and pants just make you look good. They have these stretch khaki shorts that are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a really sculpted look, which is something that I need help with. These Bird Dogs fit better than regular shorts that are made of like stiff material. How do they do that? Well, they've invented this cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but stretches so you get a slimmer fit without sacrificing movement. What also I love is that you can wear it in the heat of the summer. I live in Missouri where it's humid and gross and awful, but Bird Dogs uses anti-stink, sweat-wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. Like I was yesterday, hanging out with my family playing putt-putt. It was miserable, but lower part of my body felt great because I was wearing Bird Dog shorts. So go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege right now and enter promo code LOCKEDONCollege. And every order you put in, you'll get a free Yeti style tumbler with it. That's birddogs.com/lockedoncollege for a free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take off your Bird Dogs. Promise you. It's great to be joined on Locked on Tar Heels today by rising junior, part of the class of 2025, quarterback, Mr. Bryce Baker. Bryce is coming to us from his home in North Carolina. Bryce, it's so great to have you with us. And folks, what's neat about this is Bryce is this quarterback recruit that's really kind of blowing up on the scene. And so he's kind enough to give us kind of a little peek behind the scene at the experiences of what he's going through, how he's processing through everything in the recruiting process, all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we want to talk about who he is as a person, because that's why we do this, is to get to know the young men and women that play these games. And so, Bryce, really excited to get to talk with you today.
Yes, sir. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited.
Right on. So Bryce, right now, we were just talking about this, is a 6'3", 185-pound quarterback, and he's going to be a junior. I was joking with him. I'm only 5'11", so he's already dwarfing me and probably only going to keep growing. So congrats to you, and I'll ride your coattails, buddy. How about that? So Bryce, let's just dive right into this. People are really always interested in the recruiting process, what it's like for high school recruits, everything you got to deal with, and talking to coaches and camps and scholarships and all this kind of stuff. So thank you for taking us behind the curtain. And let's just start there. Tell us a little bit about what the recruiting process is like for you so far.
Yes, sir. So the recruiting process is definitely a process, like you said. And in summary, God's blessing me with great opportunities, and I have to seize it. Mentally and physically, the recruiting process is demanding. So it definitely tests your love for the sport. And for me, I'm definitely thankful to truly love what I'm doing, and I relentlessly seek to improve.
Man, that's great. I love to hear that. Now, I know there's a lot of good stuff about the process and all these neat opportunities, but if you could change something that you've experienced so far that's like, man, I just don't love this side of it, what's something you would change about this whole process?
I'd love to have prior knowledge, like how important some things are and what I should be prioritizing.
Yep.
And this is still my question as I'm doing some things today. However, the correct mindset, this all ties to just having the correct mindset and doing everything you do with a purpose.
Yeah.
And then as far as the recruiting standpoint, I'd also just make sure recruits have the correct mindset before rushing into recruiting with them. And if there's not, just teach them because football is definitely mentally demanding. And this is especially for players seeking to get better. So yeah, both of those things for sure.
What is that mindset, Bryce? What are you trying to do to help you have that right mindset?
So just relentlessly seeking, like I said, to get better. And it just is detail to detail. It's not the big things like I have to do this one way or do this another way, but just making sure I'm focused, not letting distractions do me in, and just focus and locked in on what I have to do, and just confidence with it too. Confidence is big for it.
Yeah. I love that. And it is the day-to-day, like every day I got to get up and grind. Every day I got to get up and eat right. Every day I got to get up and get my footwork down. It's all those just little fundamental things that build up, right? Is that right?
Yes, sir. The details of it.
Man, that's so good. Now, so Bryce, what I'm wondering then, you said, I wish high school recruits could know, like, what are these most important things? What do I pay most attention to and work with? So as you're starting to think about, I know you got some time before you have to make a decision, but as you're starting to process, hey, what's going to really matter to me in making a college decision? How are you going about processing that? We were just talking with your parents a little bit before we got going. Like, how are you guys as a family deciding, man, this is what Bryce Baker really wants as he makes a college decision?
So I definitely start my goals, like what I'm striving for and given opportunity. So regarding football, my goal, going into a specific college or university, I want to make it to the league. Like that's the big goal, and that's what I'm focused on. And the process God puts me through, that's the goal. So I believe first thing, it starts with my coaches and teammates to have the mindset or the same mindset as me, to want to have the goals of going to the league. And I say mindset and having people around you, because just having people to hold you accountable to every detail the correct way is definitely great for sure. So to sum it all up, number one thing I'm looking for is development and trust. And with that comes more specific details I look for, but development and trust for sure.
Yeah, that's good. Good stuff. Now, Bryce, I'm going to ask you to turn the camera around a little bit. You get to hear all the time, like, how you're doing and what you're good at and what you're not good at. So I'm going to let you scout yourself a little bit here, and I want you to finish this sentence for me. Bryce Baker's strongest asset as a quarterback right now is blank.
Is not physical. I believe what has the potential to outweigh all physical traits is mentality. And for me, my mindset is definitely my strongest asset right now. And I love to compete and just learn from each opportunity I'm blessed with.
Man, that's great. I am here to tell you that not a lot of young men I talk to think that way. And there you go. I'm just talking about you thinking. I love to hear it. What about the opposite side of that? Finish this sentence. The biggest hole in Bryce Baker's game right now is blank.
Is just big time game reps and experiences. And I believe as I compete in these opportunities, I'll continue to learn what works and what doesn't work to just greater myself.
Yeah. Good. Love it. And the only way you get reps is by keeping going, which is exactly what you're doing. I love to hear it. All right. How about this? Bryce Baker is more competent right now as a passer or a runner?
I'm comfortable either. I'm blessed to know that I'll be put in these situations, and that may be 3rd and long, where I have to put the ball accurately with velocity in a tight window, or that may be 3rd and long, where I have to extend the play to keep the chains moving. So just knowing that I'm able to work on them and just continue to balance myself out.
That's great. So as a passer at this point, like, let's hone in on that side of it. Would you say you're more comfortable in the pocket, or when you have to move out or roll out or bootleg or whatever it is, more comfortable in the pocket as a passer or more comfortable on the move?
I say in the pocket, and I don't want to rush. I don't want to get to my reads too fast where I'm missing open target or overlooking coverage. So I definitely want to stay in the pocket. That's the goal. But if I have to extend the play and create, like one of my coaches were saying, like, if the first play doesn't work, start the second play. And that's just extending, and my wide receivers know what to do to pick up the first and just continue to keep the chains moving.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting. You've already used this word about yourself, but every scout that I've read or heard talk about you talks about your accuracy. Why is that something you excel at? Does that come – you've talked about details over and over and over again. Is that where it comes from? Talk to me about that accuracy that Bryce Baker has.
Got you. So just how I approach the game mentally, I believe I'm locked in and focusing on my target, and I'm able to put the ball where I want to accurately. And accuracy is just definitely something I consistently work on.
Man, love it. Now, Bryce, something that's true of you is you've had your first 2 years of high school at one school, and this year you are transferring to a new school, East Forsyth. Why is that? Why is that the right decision for you to transfer ahead of your junior year?
So let's see. I love learning in school. I love learning on the court and on the field at Walkertown. However, I feel like just transferring blesses me with a new challenge and just to prove myself in a bigger stage with bigger lights.
Yeah, all those reps you're talking about getting, right? This is the opportunity to get those, continue to prove yourself and do that. And I mean, honestly, with the transfer portal in college right now, like it's just kind of the way the landscape goes and something that everyone is used to seeing.
Right. Now, so excuse me, but just to
no, you're good. Go.
And and it also helps me mentally because I feel like I'm able to grow my confidence and experience new playbook, new people to be around. That also develops my leadership and just knowledge of the game in general, which I love the opportunity to seize.
That's great. I love to hear it. Now, Bryce, we are recording this before you go to the UNC camp later on in this week, but now the show is going to air after that. So folks, as you're listening to Bryce's answer here, just to understand that. But Bryce, what are you looking forward to at the North Carolina camp coming up later this week?
I'm definitely ready to compete and just get better. I'm ready to dominate each rep. I'm ready to just go as hard as I can to just get better, and I'm excited to grow my relationship with coach or any coach I'm working with really, but Coach Lindsey, the quarterback's coach for sure. Just growing that relationship with him, seeing how he coaches and just seeing how I fit with him. So I love that opportunity. And like I said, I'm just truly thankful for it, and I'm ready to seize it.
Yeah, I mean, following in the footsteps of Sam Howell and Drake May, and then obviously Coach Lindsey comes in for his first season this year, so it'll be great to get to connect with him and continue to develop that bond. And I know you've got lots of different schools you're looking at, but obviously this is a North Carolina show, so that's what we're talking about today.
Yes, sir.
Now, folks, we have talked a little bit about the recruiting process. We've talked about Bryce the player, and in just a second, we want to talk about Bryce the person, because ultimately that's what it's all about. Is who is this dude and what makes him tick? We'll do that in just a second. All right, we're joined today on Locked on Tar Heels by rising junior quarterback for East Forsyth, Mr. Bryce Baker, starting to load up on all these offers coming in. Bryce, congrats on all that, man. I know it's got to be surreal. Just really happy for you and all those details paying off as you continue to work. So we want to talk about who you are as a person right now. So just kind of hanging out in the living room, sitting around on the couch, just talking a little bit. So Bryce, what do you enjoy doing off the football field?
So I'm definitely growing my hobbies right now. So my brother is a painter. He's an entrepreneur. He tried to start his own business, or not tried, but he is. He paints for sure. And he was actually in Africa this past week painting with people in Africa, just expanding his knowledge of how to paint and just different cultures of just expanding his horizon, you know. So I definitely picked that up, and painting, I love to do. It just clears my mind and you can focus on it just like I'm on the field. And also I have my own camera, so I love taking pictures, mainly portraits of nature. That's big for me right now. So those are two things I love doing.
That's so cool, Bryce. Yes, I love this. What a great way to just, like you said, clear your mind and find ways to do things that, you know, get you going creatively and doing other stuff. I'd love to see some of your pictures that you've taken sometime. You need to send me some. That'd be awesome. Now, something that's cool about you is you're also a basketball player. What position do you play in basketball?
I play point guard and shooting guard.
Nice. Which do you so would you call yourself more of a combo guard, or do you prefer one or the other?
Combo guard. Yes,
nice. Do you have any desire to play basketball in college too, or you think just football?
So right now, I definitely choose to do either or senior year. And of course, my football offers and my football opportunities are that's the big thing right now for me. So cool. I definitely want to, when basketball comes, to lock in and see where that takes me. But I definitely choose to do my senior year of high school.
I love it.
in college only do one and just lock in on that, be the best I can in that one.
Yeah, they're both such demanding and long sports that at some point you almost have to. Now, Bryce, it's got to be hard to balance this because essentially you go straight from football season right into basketball season. And let's be honest, both sports are essentially year-round at this point when you're training, doing things for one or the other. How do you go about balancing both?
So mainly during the what I call off season right now, which is kind of the season right now, transitioning into football when I'm not with my team yet, or I'm not having games, Fridays. So I'm able to do football work throughout the day and basketball work, and continue to work on the details of my game right now. And basketball, since that season is further away, I'm able to just do pinpoint things that maybe don't take as long or not as demanding on my body. To just make sure I'm still balancing, keeping my skills sharp, and just mentally, it's going to be big to just continue to watch film as I'm not doing basketball and continue to grow my knowledge there.
That's great. I love it. It's so cool to me. Something I love. I mean, gosh, a 6'3" combo guard in high school. I'd love to see that in action. But I love that you are essentially the floor general for both sports, right? Like whether it's a point guard or quarterback, you're the dude that has to get everyone in the right position. And I love the mindset that puts you in both sports. So that's rad. Keep it going. I love to hear it. All right, Bryce Baker, time for some quick hitting, fun questions. You got to get these right. If not, I don't know. I'll just have to be done with you maybe. Here we go. You ready?
Yes,
Bryce Baker, Coke or Pepsi?
Honestly, neither. I'm more water.
Okay, fine. Be healthy. Okay, whatever. To let you know, the correct answer is Coke, by the way. Here we go. Chick-fil-A or Popeyes?
Chick-fil-A.
Good man. You got that one right, too. All right. Now, if you're not drinking Coke or Pepsi, you might not be eating any dessert. But if you were, pie or cake or cobbler, what you going with?
Strawberry cake.
Strawberry cake. Yes. What kind of icing on top? Strawberry icing too?
Strawberry. Yes, sir.
All the way. I love it. I'm here for that action. All right. More bread food. Because listen, dude, I'm just eating all the time, and I love to know what everyone wants to eat. So sitting down to breakfast, you need some kind of bread. Are you eating waffles or pancakes or French toast?
French toast.
Yes.
French toast, but not just simple French toast. You got to whip it up with maybe some fruit or some just make it fancy.
Some whipped cream on top or something.
There you go.
Dude, Bryce, we need to have brunch together, dude. Like, this is phenomenal. You're doing it right. Okay. This summer, obviously, you've only got a couple summers of high school left. Next summer's probably going to be full of trying to figure out college stuff if you haven't already committed. What are you looking forward to this summer?
Just continue to grow my knowledge about each and every university. And apart from that, the main thing is definitely just getting better, preparing myself for the season, because that's what ultimately comes to. Doing all this recruiting is great and all, but I definitely have to prepare myself to be ready on the field and produce on the field. Yeah. So definitely just to get better and seize opportunities. It would be fun.
I think if you drank more Coke, it would really help you do. No, I'm just kidding. The water's good. You're smart, and way to go. I'm proud of you. Okay, Bryce, I think you just must do a lot of things well, because I also read, I can't remember where it was. Maybe it was in one of the recruiting profiles about you, that you have like a over 4-point GPA. Is that right?
Yes, sir. 4.2.
How on earth? You're balancing basketball and football, and yet you're like got these perfect grades. How are you pulling that off academically?
So I try not to waste my time in school, and that's easy to say, but I definitely try to lock in and focus in school to where I may not have as much homework, so I have more free time to do my working out after school or even before school. So definitely just staying focused, and sometimes prioritize the right thing. So if I have a big test coming up, like the exams, I have one big exam coming up Friday, so I may not be able to do all the training I want to do on Thursday, but making sure I do train in the morning, but definitely in the afternoon, and just lock in and do my studying and focus on it. Just not overthink it also. I want to add that. Just not overthinking school and doing what's asked of you.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. Bryce, something that's been really cool about me, just in some of our messaging back and forth and talking today and hearing interactions other people have had with you, it's very clear to me that relationships matter with you. You're not just some like jock and it's like football, 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 right, nothing else in life. Like, why is that so important to you to have real, honest, ongoing relationships with people?
So this is where I bring in my parents for sure, because they definitely are trying to teach me and hold me accountable to just having balance in my life. And that, yes, I love football. Yes, I love basketball. And I sometimes prioritize those things, but just to have a great name and have that great, like I said, name and reputation. There you go. To have about yourself and just have great vibes around you.
Good. So I love it. Well done, Mom and Pop Baker. That's awesome. I love it. And you should do that for your own kids one day too, Bryce, if you ever have kids. That'd be awesome. So something interesting, we know that in the college ranks, name, image, and likeness legislation has become a big part of what happens in NCAA now, the NIL we often talk about. And as we know, that's also coming to North Carolina high school athletics in like a month, starting July 1st. Is that something you're interested in getting involved with as like a big time quarterback in the state? Clearly you would have some earning opportunities and potential. Is that something you want to do?
I definitely want to seize those opportunities as they come, but I'm not prioritizing to where I'm focusing on more of that rather than my sports. Like I still have to have the right priorities and still have to balance myself out to where, yes, I want these opportunities. Yes, I appreciate you looking into me and believing in my talents, but I definitely want to make sure I'm getting it done on the field. So to answer your question, yes, I love those opportunities, but I'm definitely more focused on getting it done. Like getting it done, winning. There you go, winning.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you're winning on the field, that's going to bring everything else.
It'll come. Right.
It'll come. That's right. Now, I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but this is probably the most important question of our whole conversation. Bryce, I just had long curly hair that I just shaved off literally yesterday.
I noticed. Honestly, I noticed.
Right? Now, I'm looking at you, man, and you've got some of the most rad hair I've ever seen. Do you twist it? What do you do to make your hair that awesome?
Yes, sir. I twist it, and yeah, I'm blessed to have naturally curly hair, but it doesn't get tangled as easy, so I do twist it.
Dude,
make sure it's hydrated, moist.
I love it. I got to get mine grown back out so we can be hair twins, man. Like, seriously, I love your hair. It's so great. Way to go.
I appreciate it.
Bryce, very seriously, obviously, as we've talked about, would love to have you on again as you keep going through this process, whether it's North Carolina or other schools, because it's just so interesting to hear about you processing through this. But just want to say, personally from me, brother, best of luck to you. May God guide your journey as you continue to make these decisions. May he give you wisdom and discernment to make the best decision for you and your family. I have a prayer book that I start off every morning by praying. I'm adding your name to that, and I'll be in prayer for you, brother. I just want you to know that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that more than you know, too.
Absolutely. Bryce Baker, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great summer. Great luck this upcoming fall.
Thank you.
That's it for today's episode of Locked On Tar Heels. Once again, big thanks to Bryce Baker for joining me. Just a great young man. Can't wait to watch his progression. And who knows, maybe he will end up being a Tar Heel. Make sure you give him a follow on Twitter at Bryce Baker, Bryce with a Y. And instead of the R, it's the number 2. You can also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Heels or me at Isaac Schade. If you would, go give the show a review. 5 stars wherever you can find it. Apple Podcasts is a great place. If you want to have further in-depth conversation, email the show, lockedontarheels@gmail.com. If you would, subscribe to us on YouTube, smash the like button so we know you are here, and leave comments on your thoughts on both Etienne and Bryce Baker. I hope you all have a great weekend. I want to remind you that through it all, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk to you again soon, but until next week, peace.